I do believe in incest and rape.
What? Did he really just say that? Yes, he did. But it was taken way, way out of context. Here's the full clip.
I do believe in incest and rape and mother's, her health. I think in those cases, maybe abortion, okay.
Well, that changes everything. And it shows how easily a single editorial decision can transform a thoughtful gentleman into a madman.
I actually was so pro-vaccine that I'm in a clinical trial for it.
Okay. And what about you, Ray? How do you look at that?
Yeah, I'm unvaccinated, so.
This is a more harmless example. It's how the actual conversation played out. But by choosing to cut and push into Shella's reaction, we highlighted the disagreement between her and Ray. Let's watch it again without the cut.
I actually was so pro-vaccine that I'm in a clinical trial for it.
Okay. And what about you, Ray? How do you look at that?
Yeah, I'm unvaccinated, so.
So what led you to that?
I think for me, it was far too early in the vaccine trial to say, okay, I will participate in this.
Staying on Ray allows us to focus on his response rather than how it differs from Shelley's. The same conversation, cut different ways, can evoke distinctly different emotional responses. You've just seen two examples of how the media attempts to manipulate you, sometimes even without consciously trying to. But here's the thing to remember. All media is manipulation. Yes, all content is designed to make you think or feel a specific way. And this includes what you watch from Civil. However, media manipulation can range from employing simple editing techniques to tell a more engaging story, which we do here at Civil, to outright deceit and disinformation that can have, by design, disastrous consequences. Today, with people watching an average of 17 hours of online video every week, and with the rise of deepfakes and generative AI, understanding how content is created, how it is edited to move you one way or another, and knowing how to identify what is real and authentic is more important than ever. And this starts with a basic lesson in video literacy. When we started Civil, we told you upfront what our agenda is. We're going to give you the tools to take our democracy back from the radicals and put it into the hands of the reasonable. There's no more important tool we can give you than the ability to spot how you're being spun every single second you consume media. At Civil, unlike almost all of the other sources of media you watch and read, we want you to see this manipulation and have the tools you need to determine whether what's behind it is a point of view or agenda you support or oppose. A big part of editing is cutting. Cutting from a wide shot to a close-up. Cutting from the talent to B-roll. Footage or images that support what the talent is talking about, as it's often far more interesting to see what someone is talking about than it is to watch them talk about it. But editors don't just cut to reveal something, they frequently cut to remove something. For example, many people ramble, lose their train of thought, and make all kinds of distracting mouth noises. Unless the talent sorts out their thoughts, memorizes a script, or follows along with a teleprompter, the editor will have to cut all that stuff out. The simplest approach is to just cut out the bad parts, which results in a series of jump cuts, cutting from one shot to a nearly identical shot. While this can be done tastefully, it's pretty lazy and it can be incredibly jarring. While rampant online, to better mask mistakes, it's often more effective to cut to a different angle or some relevant B-roll, or to use a special morph transition to help the edit go by unnoticed. The point is, all of these techniques are used to enhance a performance. They are simple tricks to manipulate you into thinking the presenter or interviewee had a flawless delivery from the get-go. And there's no shame in helping everyone look and sound their best. The editor can also influence the way you perceive a subject, and ultimately how you feel about it, by juxtaposing images to create contrast. Like using sunny footage of downtown Jackson, followed by a struggling neighborhood under an overcast sky to highlight disparity. Or using stable footage of one leader, followed by handheld footage of another to differentiate their perceived leadership styles. These kinds of choices do come with risks. They can expose both conscious and unconscious biases. And it's up to you, the viewer, to look at these shots within the context of the whole piece and decide if those shot choices serve the story or perhaps a hidden agenda. The editor also uses shot selection and movement to push and pull you in different directions, like cutting between close-ups to show two people connecting, cutting from a close-up of one person to a wider shot of another, creating a sense of distance, or animating a slow move to draw you in closer. We're not just fooled by visual tricks. Sound hits us at a much deeper level, and it's been argued that sound shapes at least 50% of the overall experience. Probably more. Take a look at this clip with just the dialogue enabled. Are we really that divided? Or is the media just stoking conflict to get ratings and clicks? You know the answer. That's why only 7% of Americans have a great deal of trust in the media, and 60% of registered voters think that the media is an actual threat to democracy. At Civil, we're going to do something different. The visuals correspond with the dialogue, but they don't feel alive. They feel kind of empty. They lack impact. Let's watch again, but with sound effects and music in place. Are we really that divided? Or is the media just stoking conflict to get ratings and clicks? You know the answer. That's why only 7% of Americans have a great deal of trust in the media, and 60% of registered voters think that the media is an actual threat to democracy. At Civil, we're going to do something different. Much better. The piece has a lot more energy. Motion graphics, which don't produce any sound on their own, come alive. The editor chose to add people shouting, animals snarling and hissing, and percussive music to accentuate the aggressive imagery. He added Foley elements to help the crowd of animated figures feel more present, and an audible sigh of relief to contrast the end of the sequence with the start. These were all conscious decisions to not merely convey information, but to make the viewer feel anxious, excited, and then relieved about it. Sound design is also used to make a location feel more immersive and to manipulate emotion on a more subconscious level. Take another look at this example. Jackson, Mississippi has one of the highest homicide rates in the country. The city ended 2022 with 138 homicides. In 2021, the homicide rate was 14 times the national rate. I sat down with someone who's working to reduce the violence to learn more about what's going on. This is not how downtown Jackson sounded when the footage was captured. The editor layered in specific sounds, wind, cityscapes, and whooshes to set the tone of the piece. And when we transitioned to a troubled neighborhood, he incorporated sounds of underwater ocean currents to suggest the idea that the residents feel as though they're drowning. It was an artistic choice that isn't likely to register consciously, but it makes a difference. Let's play it again without the dialogue and music. Now, you might be thinking, it's pretty disingenuous adding in artistic sound effects to a documentary-style video. Doesn't that blur the line between fact and fiction? Perhaps, but it's all in service of creating something that you feel is worth your time to watch in the first place. If you think wildlife documentaries present natural events unaltered, well, you get the idea.
One of the things I did early on was I took all the original versions of Star Wars that they used to rent, and I kept them all. So they don't exist; they're not in circulation anymore.
This is not George Lucas. This is a deepfake, the video equivalent of photoshopping an image. More importantly, it's already 4 years old, and deepfake technology has improved significantly since then. What we just watched is a relatively harmless example. The channel even included the word deepfake in both the video and title description. It was just a bit of fun, not meant to deceive. But take a look at this more recent example.
Не так вже й легко. Я змушений приймати складні рішення.
Or this one.
You blame me for interfering with your democracy, but I don't have to. You are doing it to yourselves.
It doesn't take a lot of imagination to see how dangerous these types of videos can be, from influencing voters and shaping elections, to threatening the foundation of democracy to provoking war. And there are other concerns, such as the use of artificial intelligence in Hollywood, which has ramifications that will shape the entire media landscape. There has been movement on this issue and some progress has been made. But this technology is advancing faster than our governing bodies were designed to move. And eventually, deepfakes and generative AI will be indistinguishable from reality. So what can you do? The key thing is simply to pay attention. Be an active participant rather than a passive consumer. This can be a challenge at first, given how platforms are designed for us to scroll mindlessly through an endless stream of content. But with practice, you'll develop a critical eye that will help you identify how you're being manipulated and to what end. Next, don't believe everything you see. If you notice something's a bit off, odds are someone else has too. A quick online search will usually tell you if a video is real or fake. Next, check your sources. Yes, just as any reputable journalist does. It's important to verify the integrity of the person or entity that produced or reported on the content. Are they a trusted authority? Is the information accurate? Did they cite their sources? Do they have any known biases or motives? Again, all of this can generally be determined with a simple online search. And finally, think for yourself. Today, more than ever, we are pressured to choose a side, to march in line with one group opposed to another, to parrot their talking points, and spread their message all over the internet. You don't have to do this. Use your critical thinking skills. Form your own opinions. The world isn't black and white, so be wary of anyone who says that it is, because this is by definition the language of extremes. And once you're there,